What kind of person destroys a man's only way home, thinking they own the world? I was sipping coffee on my porch, the morning sun warming the fields, when the ground shook, and my grandfather's old wooden bridge, a lifeline to my ranch, collapsed in a cloud of splinters. Across the wreckage stood Linda, the HOA's self-anointed empress, clutching a fluorescent clipboard, her smirk wide enough to shame a county fair queen. In 8 seconds, my quiet life turned upside down, and I knew this wasn't just a mistake. It was war. I thought it might have been an accident at first, some freak mishap. Then Linda grabbed her bullhorn, her voice slicing through the still air, declaring the bridge a safety hazard, demolished for the community's good. My coffee went cold in my hand. That bridge, built with my grandpa's sweat, was my only way to town, to supplies, to the world. Now it was driftwood in the creek, and Linda was practically dancing, her posse of HOA lackeys clapping like she just saved the town from a dragon. A banner flapped behind them. Community Progress Day. I dropped my mug, it shattered on the porch. Boots sinking in mud, I stormed down the hill, heart hammering. A crowd had gathered, some nodding at Linda's nonsense, others shifting uneasily. She waved a paper, claiming it was an HOA mandate. I asked how she dared touch property outside their jurisdiction. Her sneer could have curdled milk. It leads to the town road, she said. So it's a public issue. We voted. The gall of it burned. My ranch was cut off, no way to move livestock, get supplies, or escape an emergency. Linda stood there, acting like a hero, while I stared at a creek that might as well have been an ocean. I wanted to yell, to tear that clipboard from her hands, but I knew her type. People like Linda feed on chaos, twisting your anger into their VY Tim story. So I asked, calm as stone, if she understood what she'd done. Her voice dripped honey and venom. I did you a favor, hon. That eyesore was a lawsuit waiting to happen. Now we'll have a safer, prettier community. Then she winked. Winked. My ears rang, but I held my ground. Her cronies bobbed their heads, though a few looked spooked, whispering as they eyed the wreckage. One guy muttered to her. She swatted him away like a fly. Turning to me, she suggested I apply for an HOA permit to rebuild her way, of course. Think decorative lampposts, white railings, and a pastel color scheme straight out of a suburban fever dream. I stared, letting her words hang, then gave her a smile. Not forced, not polite, but the kind you flash when you've got an ace up your sleeve. I thanked her, said I'd think it over, and watched her beam, thinking she'd won. As her crew packed their chairs and tacky banner, Leah VYing tire tracks and broken wood, I walked back to my house. Halfway up the hill, I glanced at the ruined bridge. Linda was laughing, probably dreaming of her face on the HOA newsletter. She didn't know the truth, and it was sweeter than any coffee. That bridge, the road to it, the land all the way to the highway, it wasn't public. It was mine. Private property, bought years ago when a developer went bust and sold cheap. I owned every plank, every easement, every inch. Linda hadn't just torn down a public nuisance. She'd vandalized my land, without permits or permission, and she was about to learn what happens when you mess with a rancher who knows his rights. Back on my porch, I stepped over the broken mug, sank into my rocking chair, and sipped fresh coffee. The sun climbed higher, shadows stretching across the fields. I rocked slow, letting the satisfaction settle in. Linda thought she trapped me, cut me off, bent me to her petty rules. She had no clue she'd lit a fuse. The days ahead would be a reckoning, and I'd make sure her HOA kingdom felt every spark. Years back, when I bought this ranch, it was a scrappy plot, barely noticed at the town's edge. The seller, drowning in debt from a failed sub-BVY shown, threw in a bonus, full rights to the access road and bridge for a few grand extra. My dad's words echoed. Control your roads, control your future. So I signed. Those papers, tucked in a safe, were now my weapon. Linda thought she was bullying a simple rancher. She was about to meet a man who'd been ready for this fight long before she showed up. Next morning, before dawn painted the hills, I drove to the county deeds office. The place smelled of old paper and lemon polish. A clerk, glasses slipping down his nose, dug through files, muttering, until he slapped a thick stack on the counter. There it was, my name on the deeds for the road, bridge, and land. No HOA claim, no public right-of-way. The bridge was private, and Linda's authority was as real as a paper crown. I left with certified copies, a grin creeping across my face. Back home, I played it cool. Linda wasn't dumb, just arrogant. If she sensed trouble, she'd spin a story to save herself. So I fenced off the bridge ruins with metal panels, hammered up, no trespassing, signs, and waited. That afternoon, Linda's white SUV crawled by. She leaned out, shouting I was making it worse. I tipped my hat, ignored her, and kept hammering. Her engine roared as she sped off, dust choking the air. I smiled. The trap was set. Days later, an HOA letter arrived, dripping with fake legal jargon, demanding I rebuild the bridge their way, my dime. Sketches showed lampposts, a gazebo, colors like a candy store exploded. It was insulting, but I filed it away silent. Let them think I was scared. Truth was, I had a back trail, a rough path through the woods, good enough for my truck and horses. The HOA? They had nothing. My road was their only way in or out of their cookie-cutter suburb. Without it, they were stranded. Tension grew across the creek. Linda held frantic meetings, posted signs promising temporary delays. Her newsletters whined about county rules and contractor woes, but residents got restless. I made quiet calls to the county, reporting the illegal demolition. Fines and inquiries would hit soon. 3 weeks in, I saw HOA board members at dusk, flashlights bobbing by the bridge, whispering like kids caught breaking a window. One waved. I ignored him, sipping iced tea on my porch. They were learning, land isn't a game, and power isn't a clipboard. The spring festival brought the climax. Linda, in a Grand Marshal sash, led a parade down my road, balloons, golf carts, kids with banners, hot dogs sizzling. From my porch, I watched, coffee in hand, as they neared my new steel gate and concrete barriers. Signs screamed, "Private property, no access." The parade stalled. Parents frowned, kids pointed, and Linda, face red as a beet, shook the gate like a tantrum-throwing toddler. When it didn't budge, she screamed for calm, dialing her phone in a panic. Sheriff Mike rolled up, an old friend who knew me since we were kids. Linda ranted about vandalism, demanding my arrest. Mike asked for her proof of HOA control. She fumbled, offering useless notes. He shook his head, then waved me over. I strolled down, handed him my deeds, and watched his eyes light up. Raising his voice, Mike declared the road and bridge mine, no HOA claim, no trespassing allowed. Linda tried to argue. He silenced her. The crowd went quiet, beautifully quiet. Golf carts retreated, booths came down, and Linda fled to her SUV, slamming the door. That night, a video spread online, Linda screaming at Mike, shaking the gate, humiliated. Comments roasted her. Memes turned her into a fallen dictator. Her power crumbled, and I slept like a baby. But this wasn't over. Days later, I spotted trucks by the creek, workers unloading lumber, Linda barking orders. She was building a new bridge in my land, no permission. My anger turned cold, sharp. I called the county, the EPA, and a drone guy I knew. By afternoon, we had footage of her trespass, concrete bags fouling the creek. 2 days later, inspectors swarmed. County officials, EPA agents, a water officer in sunglasses. They grilled the workers, snapped photos, measured boundaries. Linda waved her HOA badge, but they weren't fooled. My orange boundary posts proved her bridge was on my land. Contractors lied to, packed up fast. Citations hit Linda: illegal construction, environmental damage, zoning violations. Fines stacked into tens of thousands. Her face went blank, voice mute. The community erupted, petitions, meetings, demands for her head. A week later, an HOA board member, Tom, showed up, hat in hand. Over lemonade, he said Linda was ousted, the fines too steep, the shame too deep. They begged to rebuild the bridge, my terms. I laid it out, they'd pay for everything, admit the road was mine, add a bylaw securing my rights, and Linda would apologize publicly. Tom nodded, pale, and left promising answers. The town buzzed. At a community meeting, under an oak tree, folks gathered, some curious, some gleeful. The new HOA head, Sarah, spoke of trust, then called Linda. She shuffled out, no suit, no smirk, just a trembling woman with a paper. Her voice cracked as she admitted her crimes, apologized to me by name, and slunk off. No applause, just silence, heavy and final. Sarah handed me a signed deal, my terms locked in. Construction started, me watching every nail. The bridge rose sturdy, simply no frills, just wood and steel. Neighbors warmed, some thanking me for ending Linda's reign. We grilled steaks when it finished, a quiet nod to justice. Linda's house went up for sale, no takers. She fled town, her name mud. My ranch thrived, the creek ran clear, and every crossing of that bridge felt like VY Tor, not bitter, but proud. I'd won, not with fists, but with truth, patience, and a road no one could take. One evening, Linda's car rolled up. She stepped out, stiff, an envelope in hand. "A final letter," she muttered, no eye contact. "Your rights signed, no more trouble." I took it, heavy with papers, and watched her drive off, dust trailing like a ghost. Summer deepened, the town healed, and I rode my horse across the bridge under starlight. Some battles scar, some teach, but this one built a bridge stronger than any before, a testament that right outlasts wrong, if you hold the line.